Hi, my name's Joanne. If you're new here, yesterday I did a documenting your journey post where I said, "Oh, I've been making a lot of my decisions based on synchronicity and intuition." And hey, today I thought, let's go live on YouTube. I actually thought, let's go live tomorrow on YouTube, but I made myself do it now. I'm a creator, reinventing myself in my 50s. I have a career I'm not gonna talk about that. Let's talk about synchronicity and making decisions. I don't wanna talk about my story. Reason being, I'm reinventing myself. I kinda threw it all up in the air, and I'm trying not to hold on to parts of my story. And again, I suppose that comes back to synchronicity and experts. What do I mean by synchronicity? You probably know if you've clicked on this. I mean by synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences where it feels like the energy and the momentum starts building, and it's almost like the decisions make themselves, compared to experts' advice. In particular, I'm thinking about the kind of advice where they say, this is the right way to do it, and this is the only way to do it. This is where you are at, this is where you're going, and this is the path to do it. And one of the problems I have with that is I'm very attracted to their certainty. I really like and the experts that I'm watching, particularly I'm thinking about experts for YouTube, but any creator expert, but particularly YouTube at the moment. I'm really attracted to the certainty of this is the way to do it. And they have all the credibility and the social proof and they are going public. They have increased. They get the views, they get the likes. As I say, super, super attracted to that. But when they say what step one is, when I'm listening, I feel like, yeah, that's step one. And I'll go home and then I'll not do their step one. And I'll blame myself because they're the experts. They know what they're doing and I don't know what I'm doing. So the and also I see that they've got other people that are succeeding and I think, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm too lazy or any other negative, just not motivated or don't want it enough or kind of personal attacks on myself rather than about skills or anything. But as I say, when I'm listening to them, I'm listening, I'm in the zone, I believe them, I think it's the right way to go, I'm completely there for it, and then I don't do it. And what I was realizing later was I think their step one, or where they think I am, isn't my step one. Because my step, they were talking about things like just turn on the camera and just do this and just do that. And I hate the just word. But for me, it wasn't a just. I was already saying that to myself. I was already saying, just turn the camera on, just use your phone, just, set up the account. And I wasn't doing it. So there was clearly some sort of obstacle between me and that first step. And I never felt that the experts really addressed that as a step one. But like I say, I was completely invested in they know I'm going to be listening to them. And then I became ill. I'm not going to talk about my story too much. A couple of years ago, I became ill. I stopped all this trying and listening to experts because I was too ill, and that's okay. And I didn't really focus on what my creative career was gonna be because I was focusing on how can I get well again. But then earlier this year, I realized that I may never be 100% well again. And what does that mean for me? In that I might have to have a creator career, or it'd be lovely if I could have a creator career and manage around the needs, health needs, and different things like that. And as part of doing that, I had this tiny feeling of, "Mm, maybe as part of this reinventing myself, I could have some photos done." And it was really that small, and I think it was about April time, and I reached out to a photographer and I said, "Mm, maybe September, maybe I'll do some photos in September. Just tell me, roughly how much that is." And then I sent the message on over Facebook, and then I a couple of minutes later, I thought, "Well, if I'm gonna pay for photos and it's gonna be September, and I have lost about £60 from being ill, maybe she knows somebody who can help me go through my wardrobe and choose some new looks for me." So, about 5 minutes later, I wrote to her and asked if she knew somebody who could help about clothes and things. And she bounced back straight away. I wasn't expecting that. I think it was a Sunday that I wrote to her, and I wasn't expecting a quick reply. So she bounced back and goes, "Yes, and this is a person." And so I had a quick look at this person's profile, and it was clear that this is quite a new business for her. But it was also interesting that she'd said about a favorite artist that she likes, and I think it was an Argentinian artist. I can't remember his name now, but me and my husband really like this artist as well. And so, like, ding, little kind of synchronicity is like, of all the people and all, I mean, a lot of people don't talk about their favorite artist when they're talking about their business, but she was brave enough to do that. And that was like a little point of connection for me. But I say, this is just a Sunday morning. I'm not expecting replies, but I'm just making these little tiny decisions. And I remember I was lying down in bed. I was having a lazy morning, and I thought to myself, I thought, "Hmm, I wonder if this could be the start of something where maybe we could do a collaboration." Like, where maybe we could all do social media content. I'll still pay for the photos and I'll still pay for the wardrobe makeover, but maybe we could have a little bit more in that we could all help each other and work, together. I can let them know that I'm reinventing myself. I don't really know what the future is. And, it'd be really nice for me to have some friends who are also building their own business. Anyway, I I put it out of my mind, and I think this is how intuition works. I haven't really mentioned the word intuition, but I think this is how intuition works. Little kind of voice. And I think I typed out a, "Would you like to do a collab where, we all share social media content?" And I remember thinking, "I'm gonna delete that. I'm not gonna send that." And then I glanced over and it said 11:11 on the Times. And for anybody who's not really into all this spiritual thing, I've hesitated mentioning how I'm making my decisions based on this. It said 11:11. I'd already typed it out, and I thought, "Send. Just send it. What's the worst she could do?" She could say, "No, I'm very busy and I'm very important and I don't want to do anything like that." She could have said that. And like nanoseconds later, she replied saying, "Yes, absolutely. Yes, 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 absolutely." I later find out that her name is Fiona, the photographer's Fiona, and the lady who did the fashion and everything was called Louise. Her and Louise had done some work about 6 months earlier, and they'd both agreed, wouldn't it be great if a client was open to the idea of doing a collaboration where the whole journey was documented and we could share it on social media. So they'd already discussed this about 6 months before, which is probably why Fiona knew that she could reply within nanoseconds and say yes to a collaboration. And at this point, my stomach's turning over. And now they're talking about, "Hey, what about May for the photos? What about June? What about," and I'm like, "Woo, woo, woo, cowboy. Let's just slow down." But this is synchronicity for me. This is the momentum where everything is happening. And yes, I absolutely love the listen to the expert route, but I really like the synchronicities coming in. I really like that energy feeling of, I think maybe this is the path to go. This is the right way to go. And it feels fun. And it reminded me of years ago, like earlier in my career, where different synchronicities was happening. I used to live in Spain, and how I met my husband and all those kind of things was much more about the intuition, following it, and then you get that feedback loop, don't you? Where as I say, the synchronicities start happening, and it's almost like the decisions make themselves. And I've noticed recently that I've just been doing a daily video, again based on intuition and synchronicities and just that momentum going. I've been doing daily document your journey videos to get comfortable on camera and to get talking and starting work, and the idea was to find my 1,000 true fans. I thought that'd be cool. So I've just started doing that, and now I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. What was I saying? Before I digressed and told you what I was doing with the daily things, I was saying about decision making. It probably helps that if I take a breath anyway. It'd be interesting to see the analytics, whether people give up on me. If anybody watches this and if anybody just gives up when my mind goes blank. I'm kind of wanting to reach out to people who are like me in that they're feeling a little bit conflicted about their creator career. I'm in my 50s now, and going public looks very different to how it did when I was in my 20s. In my 20s, it was the people that you knew, and you did a little workshop, and if nobody turned up, nobody knew. Nobody knew. I mean, I my very first workshop that I advertised, my mom turned up, my stepdad, and my stepmom. So it's just the three of them, and they made me do the workshop just for the three of them. It's kind of fun. But again, oh yes, I used to be making my decisions based more on the synchronicity, and then I found myself like I wanted to succeed. I found myself moving over to learn from the experts. They know what they're doing, follow those videos, and obviously that's just got more and more as I've got older. I love learning, love reading other people's books, love listening to their advice, all that super positive. But I think what happened was I let go too much of how I was feeling. And by relying on the experts, as particularly about this step one thing, was I wasn't really listening to the voice inside me that was saying, that's not your step one. And in fact, that's not your goal either, because they were talking about fancy edits and working from a script and having it super sharp and everything. And I thought, I'm not sure I want to sound like that when I'm on video. And I do know for sure that their step one was not my step one. For example, they were saying, just turn on the video and speak. And I thought, you don't know how scared I am. You don't know how I'm freezing and there is nothing to say. It's not like I'm stumbling over my words or anything. It's like there is nothing. So my step one was trying to think of anything to say, trying to calm myself down enough to think of anything to say. But I still want to learn from the experts and I still want to get better at this. But I feel recently that I need to be thinking a lot more about my own intuition, and the synchronicities are lovely when they come in, but it's also intuition about how I'm making these decisions. And that was why last night in my daily document the journey, I said to people, I've been holding back on you. I've been making a lot of my decisions based on intuition and synchronicities. Because it felt a bit like a dirty secret that here was I trying to reach out to other creators to encourage them to make videos, go public, be brave, be themselves. And yet I wasn't listening to experts. And I don't think in that very short video that I made it clear that I've done plenty of listening to experts and I will continue to listen to experts. But I need to hold on to my own inner voice when I'm making decisions. There you go. Oh, 15 minutes. Now, there are no questions here. I didn't advertise this as doing a live. If you're free and you think, "Oh, I can't go live. What if nobody turns up?" Then hopefully you'll remember me, and then you'll think, "Yeah, nobody turned up for Joanne either, and she still kept talking for 15 minutes, even though she got lost a little way before." Now, if you haven't seen anything about my work, I I'm all about self-expression, and I draw these cartoons kind of as a journaling practice. And I thought I had them in front of me because I was worried I might completely run out of things to say. But I'm gonna pick one of my cartoons, which is kind of my subconscious talking, just to end on. And I did this the other day, and I accidentally I picked a card where I was speaking and people were throwing rotten tomatoes at me. So I don't know what my subconscious is gonna want me to end this live on. My first live. What's the picture? Oh, okay. I accidentally picked 2. I don't know whether these are gonna be wonky backward to front or whatever, because I don't know. Okay. Can you see? I drew I drew a window with a broken window, and it says "curveballs ahead." I remember what happens is I tend to be inspired by either an idea for an image or an accident of I've drawn something. So, for example, I'm drawing my person and she accidentally looks confused. I'll give her something to say. But for this one, I saw or I heard somebody say curveballs ahead. And I took it literally about a ball smashing a window. But obviously, it's not about that. It's about suddenly something's going to change. So, ooh, maybe suddenly something's going to change. Because I did a live and I kept talking for 17 minutes. But I accidentally picked up 2, and one says, can you see that? Is it shiny? "Shopping like a millionaire," and there's paints, and I've put more. So, curveballs ahead, and maybe there's loads of money gonna come in, and I'm gonna buy lots of paints and felt tip pens. So there you are. If you have any questions after the fact when you see this, thank you so much for staying to the end, and I hope you're making decisions with the experts and with a little bit of intuition too. Take care. Bye.